Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Strike Zone with St. Paul Saints Manager George Tsamis. Strike Zone is a weekly program that gives you, the fans, the opportunity to ask the St. Paul manager questions about the Saints, baseball or sports in general, or just seek George's wisdom about life events that are going on. In this week's episode, George talks to us about the impressive performance in Ryan Zimmerman's debut. He answers a question if there is any cause for concern about Mark Hamburger, and George tells us he's been eating a little bit too much Chick-Filet lately. So let's get right to Strike Zone. Well, let's welcome back Manager George Tsamis this week. George, let's first of all talk about you signed Ryan Zimmerman this week. He had a really impressive 2015, struggled last year. Are you expecting that you're going to see the Ryan Zimmerman of 2 years now?
He threw the ball real well the other day. And we needed it too. He gave us 6 good innings, and it'd be nice to have the Zimmerman from two years ago. Last year, though, I know he had a rough year, but his stuff, when we saw him pitch last year, his stuff still was decent. But he did say that he had hurt his foot and he was pitching on a bad foot. So maybe that had something to do with it. But it was nice in his first start that, the way he threw and gave us 6 good innings.
Boy, he sure looked healthy right off.
Yeah, he did. He did, and again, he hadn't pitched in a few weeks either, so it was nice for him to give us that performance.
Now, I know early on in the season you had talked about you were looking for the guys at the top of the order to really set the table for guys like Nate Hansen and Brady Shoemaker. This Danny Aldo is doing exactly what you were looking for, it looks like.
Yeah, he's doing a nice job, and he's got some big hits for us. He's hitting in top of the order, and he's been in Double-A for the last 2 years. So obviously, we know he can play, and he's swinging the bat well. And with having him and Nate Hansen and Brady Shoemaker, the 3 of them are swinging the bat well. But we need some other guys that need to step up, because it just seems like at this point, those 3 guys are swinging the bat well, and but again, we need other guys they need to start swinging it.
Well, let's head to fan questions this week. We first of all begin with Sheila from St. Paul. She would like to know, she says, Mark Hamburger does not seem to be pitching as well as he did last season. Is there a reason to be concerned?
It's a little deceiving too. The other day, his start the other day, and he gave up a grand slam. It was just the one pitch. Other than that one pitch, it just got up, and the guy just got to pitch up, and he hit it out, and the wind was blowing out, and you just take away that one pitch, and it was a fine performance. So maybe he's not throwing as hard as he has in the past, but that happens too, and he'll be on the mound tomorrow, and hopefully he can give us a good performance.
Next up is Jerry from St. Paul, who says, it looks like the North Division is going to be really tough this season. Do you like it when the division is more competitive like that?
No, I like it when we win by a bunch of games is what I like. But that doesn't appear to be the case this year. This division's tough, and Fargo and Winnipeg are real tough. And again, I know Sioux Falls off to a slow start as well, but they have good players, and they have some decent pitchers. And so it's going to be tough. We knew it's going to be tough, but we honestly just need to play better. And, we're only 1 back in the loss column, and there's a long season. And but we knew it was going to be a tough division.
Tyler from Rush City first says, it is so surprising to him to see the pitching staff struggle as they are. What are you looking for from the pitchers to make them a bigger contribution? Obviously the first, week or 10 days, it was tough. It was tough to watch. But lately, the last, maybe the last week or so, 5-6 games, the pitching has been better, and we just threw too many balls. And when you throw so many balls and get behind in the count so much, it's tough. And but that's what we need. We need more strikes and getting ahead and make better pitches, and especially when you start playing, teams like Fargo and Winnipeg and Wichita and Sioux City. There are plenty of good teams, but we need to make better pitches. And in the first week, obviously the weather was horrible, and when you're in those 40-degree nights, and it's tough to. Some guys said they
trouble feeling the ball, and it was tough with the command. So get ahead those strikes, and but that has been the case here the last few games.
Trent would like to know, he says, is Salina really that bad? It just seems to him that they are embarrassing the league.
They played us well 3 games, and those 3 games could have gone either way. So it's not as bad as it looks, you look at the standings, but they've been in some games. They were in some games with Winnipeg. So it's a tough situation because it happened, 10 days before the season ended, 2 weeks, whatever it was, and the league did the best they could to put together a team, but they have some guys that can swing it, and they have a couple guys that can pitch, and so it's all 3 games with us. They were in the games, and those games could have gone either way.
We have a couple of questions from Craig from Winnipeg. The first one says, George, is it easier or harder to play in an empty stadium against a team like Salina?
Yeah, you never want to do that, play in front of an empty stadium. You like to play in front of the big crowds, and especially at our place, it's more exciting, and but nobody wants to play in front of an empty stadium.
Craig would also like to know, what's the best pizza on the road?
Don't know, but I had Domino's the other day, so I'm going to go with that. It was really good. We got rained out, and so I walked over and got Domino's, and so that's my answer to that one.
David from Lakeland would like to know, he says, with summer here and his kids having a lot of time, he would like to know if there is a point where you believe that a kid is playing too much catch each day, or should they just be allowed to keep going as long as they can go?
When you're playing catch and long toss, whatever, you don't need to play for an hour, 15, 20 minutes, whatever, but it's good to, you don't want to burn them out either. You don't want to play catch every day for hours, and it's good to give them a day off, and when they have a day off from not playing, it's good to give them a day away from the game, and you don't want to burn them out, and but like I've said before, when you play catch, it's good, play catch, do some long toss, and enjoy it, but you don't need to be playing catch for an hour every day.
Manuel from Richfield asks, he says, did you see that pitcher for the Giants who hit Bryce Harper in retaliation for a home run he hit 3 years ago? That is just stupid, don't you think?
Yeah, I saw the highlight, and I really don't know what the story was. I mean, you hear that's what it was, and if that's what it was, it's a joke, and I'm really not a fan of that stuff, and what's the point? He hit a home run, whatever, and if that's what it was 3 years later, then no, I don't like that at all, and I think it's wrong, and but again, I don't know the facts.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you about, because I found this part of it interesting, was that when Harper was hit and started charging the mound, Buster Posey didn't really do anything to stop him.
Yep.
As the catcher, you would normally think that he's protecting his pitcher, but I thought that was sending a sign like, hey, whatever you're doing was really stupid, and I'm not backing you up on that. How would you feel as a manager if your catcher responded in that way?
Yeah, maybe that's, maybe, because I heard about that too, where people were criticizing him for not jumping out right away, and but again, who knows what he was feeling too. Maybe that's exactly the way he felt. Maybe he's like, it was wrong for you to do that, and I know he's had some injuries in the past too, and maybe he wanted to stay out of it. And, but I know you don't want your best player getting hurt on something stupid like that. So who knows what the reason was? But I don't know. I'm not a fan of the. I'm not a fan of the drilling guys for hitting home runs. I don't really care for it, and it seems to happen. It seems to happen too much. A guy hit a home run, we hit a home run, and again, especially the 3 year later thing, it's ridiculous.
Chuck from Minneapolis asks, he says, how is it that the Mets are playing so badly with such a great pitching staff?
Well, they've lost their best starter for the year. He got hurt. The closer got hurt. The best player got hurt. So, when you lose your best guys, it's not easy. People think you can just snap your fingers and get another great guy in there, but the injuries, losing key players like that, it's tough for anybody to, recover from, and obviously they're in the division with Washington, and Washington seems to be running away from it, but injuries hurt, and injuries to your best players really hurt.
A couple of guys from the Bay Area have questions for you. First is Mark from Martinez, who says, if the Raiders can sign Calvin Johnson, do you see them as the team that should win the Super Bowl?
No, is that I haven't heard that, anything like that. Is that like something that's being talked about, or is it just somebody?
I guess he came out with it, that he would like to return to the NFL and play for the Raiders now.
Oh, good. That would be great. I think that would be. I mean, who knows what kind of who knows what kind of player he still is. He was a great player for what's he been out for 2 years now?
I think so.
Or he missed last year. Yeah, you know what? If that's true, great. You love to have great players in the game, and playing in Oakland too with those fans, and I think that would be a neat thing if that is actually true.
Hank from San Jose says, Skip, give some dap to your hometown Golden State Warriors.
You know what? I don't even watch basketball, but I watched that game the other day, and that was exciting. And I'll tell you what, both ways, both teams obviously can play, but watching the Warriors play, they just run up and down and just shoot it from so far away, and I think they take 30-footers and 25-footers and just bomb away, and it was an exciting thing to see. It's a fun watch, and so hopefully they can keep it going. I guess they've won every game so far, so that'd be neat if they can win every single game in the playoffs and not lose one game.
Next up is Walt from St. Louis Park. He says, what do you eat when you go to Chick-Fil-A?
Order the number one. It's funny because we got rained out yesterday, and I got it for lunch, and then we got rained out, and on the way back we stopped, on the way back, and it just happened to be there. So I ate it for lunch and dinner, and that's probably not a wise decision, but the Chick-fil-A sandwiches, enjoy them, and I ate it twice yesterday, so I'll take a break for a little bit.
Our last statement from this week is from Kyle from Minneapolis. He says, I love my fiance, and we are getting married this summer. It bothers me that everything she wants for the wedding she gets and I get nothing. My mom keeps telling me that the wedding is about her. That just doesn't seem fair.
Maybe, but maybe your mom's right in this. Just let her enjoy it. And what do you really need anyways? Just make her happy, and there you go.
I think everybody agrees that the wedding is about the wife.
Yeah, let her enjoy it.
Well, thanks for joining us this week, George.
Okay, thank you so much.
We want to thank Manager George Tsamis for joining us on Strike Zone this week. If you have your own questions you'd like to ask the St. Paul Saints manager, please send them to us at askgeorge@minorleaguesportsreport.com. That's askgeorge@minorleaguesportsreport.com. Please have your questions to us by Saturday evening so we can give George a little time to review them before we record the show. I'm Rob Pannier, the managing editor of the Minor League Sports Report, and we'll see you next time on Strike Zone.